In 2004, Morgan Spurlock created a documentary of his experiment with fast food. It's called Supersize Me. You might have heard of it. A lot of teachers and professors have used this documentary to show how fast food can affect you in your life if you eat it constantly. For 30 days, Spurlock ate nothing but McDonald's fast food for 4 times a day, which is a lot. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that's a perfect diet for me. But if you've ever seen the film, you'd realize that at the end of his experiment, it went horribly wrong. Spoiler alert, Spurlock gets extremely sick and gains almost 25 pounds. I will admit that I've indulged on a quarter pounder or 2 in the past, and it makes me feel guilty that I not only put my stomach through that pain, but also my wallet. Believe me, the idea of grabbing a quick bite can seem very appealing in our fast-paced culture, but the effects it has on our health and on our bank accounts can be destructive. In fact, I found a video clip from the movie Supersize Me, which describes fast food in our society today. Take a look.
Everything's bigger in America. We've got the biggest cars, the biggest houses, the biggest companies, the biggest food, and finally, the biggest people. America has now become the fattest nation in the world. Congratulations. Nearly 100 million Americans are today either overweight or obese. That's more than 60% of all U.S. adults. Since 1980, the total number of overweight and obese Americans has doubled, with twice as many overweight children and 3 times as many overweight adolescents. The fattest state in America? Mississippi, where 1 in 4 people are obese. Obesity is now second only to smoking as a major cause of preventable death in America, with more than 400,000 deaths per year associated with related illnesses. In 2002, a few Americans got fed up with being overweight and did what we do best. They sued the bastards, taking aim at the fast food companies and blaming them for their obesity and illnesses. A lawsuit was filed in New York on behalf of 2 teenage girls. One who is 14 years old, 4'10", and 170 pounds. The other, 19 years old, 5'6", and 270 pounds. The unthinkable had suddenly become reality. People were suing the Golden Arches for selling them food that most of us know isn't good for you to begin with. Yet each day, 1 in 4 Americans visits a fast food restaurant. And this hunger for fast food isn't just in America, it's happening on a global basis. McDonald's alone operates more than 30,000 joints in over 100 countries on 6 continents and feeds more than 46 million people worldwide every day. That's more than the entire population of Spain. In the United States alone, McDonald's accounts for 43% of the total fast food market. They're everywhere. Walmarts, airports, rest stops, gas stations, train stations, shopping malls, department stores, amusement parks, even hospitals. That's right, hospitals. At least you're close when the coronary kicks in. Lawyers for McDonald's call the suits frivolous, stating that the dangers of its food are universally known, and that these kids can't show that their weight problems and health woes were caused solely by their McDiets. The judge states, however, that if lawyers for the teens can show that McDonald's intends for people to eat its food for every meal of every day, and that doing so would be unreasonably dangerous, they may be able to state a claim. Is fast food really that bad for you?
I mean, what would happen if I ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days straight? Would I suddenly be on the fast track to becoming an obese American? Would it be unreasonably dangerous? Let's find out. I'm ready. Supersize me.
In only 30 days of eating nothing but McDonald's, I gained 24.5 pounds. My liver turned to fat, and my cholesterol shot up 65 points. My body fat percentage went from 11 to 18%, still below the national average of 22% for men and 30% for women. I nearly doubled my risk of coronary heart disease, making myself twice as likely to have heart failure. I felt depressed and exhausted most of the time, my mood swung on a dime, and my sex life was non-existent. I craved this food more and more when I ate it, and got massive headaches when I didn't. In my final blood test, many of my body functions showed signs of improvement, but the doctors were less than optimistic.
Alright, so obviously from the clip you can see that fast food has somewhat made a huge impact on everyone's everyday lives, and we're tempted each day to buy into their ploy and go and buy a Big Mac or a double quarter pounder or whatever it may be. But with the right information about how you can manage your money, time, and health when it comes to food, then you wouldn't have to worry about driving to the closest McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Burger King, etc. Speaking of managing money, here's Kenny to tell you about how to do it.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pumped to talk about the finances of eating at home and going out to eat. Let's get started. First of all, you've got commercials. They advertise fast food to be 100% beef, and you've got USDA approval. You know what? It might be 100% beef, but you know what USDA actually is? They just inspect the cattle or the crop or anything that's going into the factory before it's actually cooked. You don't actually know what meat you're getting, which means it might not actually be financially good for you to buy this to get healthy food, because you might not be getting the most nutritious meat there is. Let's move on. I went ahead and did some statistics for 2012, and one thing I noticed is there's a lot more money spent on going out to eat and fast food than when it comes to eating at home. And that most likely is because of laziness. People don't want to make their own food. They feel like it's faster to spend a little bit of extra money and in the end save some time than going out or to the grocery store and buying some groceries and making some food at home. Well, that can be true, I suppose, depending on where you go. But the fact of the matter is, it's not. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. Organic food. Well, the first thing that's going to come to your mind, is it worth paying the extra money to get that food? Well, it should be, but the problem is we're not all financially ready to make that kind of commitment. It doesn't matter whether it's 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, any little bit when you're grocery shopping regularly for yourself or family, especially family, is going to add up. I went myself, I walked over to the Walmart Supercenter, and I walked over to the neighborhood market and the Publix, did some price checking myself just to see if it's really that much more expensive. And it turns out it actually is. I went, for example, I was looking at organic field greens versus non-organic, which means vegetables and greens that were raised with chemicals and all sorts of other things, and versus not. And yes, it was about between 50 cents to $1 more, and that does definitely add up. But there is a way around that. If you want to eat good organic food and you can't absolutely afford to spend that money at all, invest a little bit of labor, just grow it yourself. I went over to Walmart, checked out some prices of a place where I knew you could pick up food seeds. You can get bags of food seeds for vegetables and fruit dirt cheap, like between $1 to $2 depending on what it is. You can pick up your own soil or whatever you want to use to grow it. You can get your own pots, cheap plastic pots. Just get exactly what you need, not spend any extra money. You can grow a massive amount depending on how much you want, and you can eat good, healthy food that you know you grew yourself and doesn't have any sort of pesticides or anything in it. It's just a matter of not being lazy. And once again, going to the cost of organic food. Just like I said, there's a reason why it costs more. You got to think about the time that's invested in it. There's no chemicals, which equals more labor. That means more man hours, more people on the clock at the factories, making sure that the crops are just fine. Got to get better fertilizer because you're not using all these pesticides, etc., and that's going to cost more money too, which obviously a lot. Organic certification fees. Every year they have to pay a fee to organically grow food and be able to ship it out. So that also goes into the cost. And each time a crop dies or even one vegetable dies, because of the man hours invested in it, that's a higher loss, which means more money wasted. And further adding to that, growing it yourself, all you need is a backyard. Just a pot, backyard, some soil, 5 minutes a day, literally just 5 minutes a day. That's all you need to make sure your crops are good and you can eat some healthy food at a decent price. That's really it. And if you can't commit to that, then you really don't want to eat healthier. That's just the way it is. You have to accept that fact. All right, now we're going to move on to some time management with fast food and eating at home. Darby?
Thank you very much.
No problem.
The biggest excuse I hear when people are talking about eating healthier versus fast food is I don't have the time. Well, I understand each and every one of us live very busy lives. I'm a dual enrolled student. From 9:30 to 1:45, I'm at school in Merritt Island, and I have to drive 45 minutes to come here. And then on top of that, I have AP classes. A lot of you guys have work. You know, we don't have a lot of time to spare in our day, and when we do, we like to relax. And trust me, I understand that. But what a lot of people don't realize in today's culture, or don't fully realize it to the extent that it needs to be, is we only have one body. Or I know you probably hear that a lot, but our body's a temple. We need to treat it right in order for it to work properly. If we constantly are lazy, live sedentary lifestyles, and don't eat healthy, it's going to reflect that in our body. We're going to gain weight, we're going to feel lethargic, higher rates of anxiety, depression, and other illnesses, and that makes us miserable. And literally, 10 minutes a day to manage your time for food is going to help you a long way. This is going to be you can manage your time to grocery shopping, things like that. And obesity is one of the biggest problems in America right now, as the video explained. Don't be a statistic, people. Come on. I mean, looking good is awesome for your body, your mental health, etc. Okay. The average shopper. I know I'm an average shopper sometimes. My mom would say, hey, write them out, go to the grocery store, get stuff. So I go to Walmart without a list, just things in my head, and maybe a text message to remind me or two. So I go to Walmart and grab the milk, whatever else I think we need, and if I see a bag of Cheetos on sale, I'm going to get it. And I realize I'm not the only one. I'm willing to admit that. I don't eat as healthy as I should, and it reflects. I'm really lethargic, and I live a sedentary lifestyle. I'm lucky enough to have a high metabolism, and I'm trying to work on changing that. And a big step for that is managing my time in order to go to the grocery store and get healthy foods. A lot of us don't do research into what we're putting into our bodies too. Like I said, if you see a bag of Cheetos, you're just going to get it and eat it because, you know, they taste awesome and delicious. But if you look at the ingredients, there's a lot of fat. You know, probably even 15 Cheetos is one serving size, and you'll get the amount of fat you need for one day. And you're going to eat more than 15 Cheetos, 30, 40, I don't know how many, maybe the entire bag. And you're going to get 5 to 6 more times that serving size. And your body's going to process that, and you're going to gain weight, unfortunately. Smarter shopper. This is what we do. A great thing to do to organize your time better is make a list. You know, go to the grocery store once a week. Pick out a day, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, or whatever you want. Make a list. I know that sounds lame, and it's kind of a mom thing to do. Sorry, I didn't know. But it really does help. When you're doing that, you know what you're getting. It's like, oh, do I need half and half? Do I need eggs? You don't need to stop and think about that. You have a list. You know what to get. And on top of that, you're able to plan your meals better that way too. Let's say you're going online. There are hundreds of thousands of recipes online that are healthy, and they even manage with affordability and money. So let's say you go online, you see a new recipe you like, and it's like, wow, this looks awesome. You write what you need on the grocery list. You don't have to go to Walmart right then and there to get it and make it for dinner that night. What you need to do is plan. You need to plan, like, what do I want for dinner this week? I know I need to cook Monday and Thursday. You plan your meals, you know what you need to get. So you don't have to run to the grocery store and waste half an hour or an hour when you could be relaxing, tending to your kids, work, etc. You need to know what you're going to buy when you go to Walmart or Publix or whatever store you go to. And try to go for the healthier food. Kenny explained that, you know, it's expensive and we're all on a college budget, and I understand that. That's why I say, if you plan in advance, you realize, oh, I only have, you know, $85 this week in food. You plan according to that. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot this. Know the layout of your store. If you're going to different stores, it's going to take longer, but if you know your local Walmart or whatever, you know, it'll take, you know, 10 less minutes to get your stuff. Now, serving sizes. This is another thing to do with health and knowing what you're going to get. We all know you should have, you know, 1 serving size per meal, so that's healthy for your body and whatnot. Well, we all know you can't buy 1 serving size of something. You know, a bag of rice is probably 6 serving sizes. And if you get that, you need to manage what you have with your food, so you know how much you have and you know if you need to buy more or not. So if you live alone, if you have a partner, if you have a family, or whatever, you need to realize the amount of people in your house, how much to eat, and how many serving sizes you need. So for that is let's say you have 3 or 4 kids, you're married, or you have 1 or 2 kids, it doesn't really matter. You go to the recipe or what you want to cook for dinner, and you realize this recipe is able to feed 2 people. And let's say you need 6 chili peppers, or whatever you need for that. Double that. I know this is about portion control as well, but if you double that, you're going to make a lot more food. And you're going to be able to have 2 to 3 days worth of food. And leftovers are good, come on. And with leftovers, you can just go in the fridge and get that. You don't have to cook another meal. That's why I said you may only have to cook 2 to 3 times a week. Or 4, it depends on your family. And if you cook more than the recommended size 2 or 3 times, people are going to be able to pick off of that, and you're going to have more food for longer. And that's a great way to manage your time so you don't have to go to McDonald's or whatever every day. Okay, that's health benefits. And I have a video for you guys. Sorry.
Hey everybody, I'm Chef Maria, the Fit Foodie. Today I want to talk to you about time management and healthy snacking for kids. Now, I can tell you from experience as a mom, it's often hard to get fresh fruit and vegetables and really nutritious foods onto your kids' plates. But I have a couple of tips and tricks to help you out. So the first thing that I do is I wash all of my produce with Eat Cleaner. Helps to extend shelf life, helps to make all your produce a lot safer and even better tasting. So I clean my broccoli, my cauliflower, my carrots, get it all washed, chopped up, and it's in the refrigerator and ready to snack on. So don't have to have them reach for things that may not be as nutritious. Then I also like to have high protein, plant-based items available for healthy snacking too. I have chickpeas, which I season with just a little bit of cumin, pepper, salt, and just a little squeeze of lemon. And then I have some raw almonds that you can also toast with cinnamon or your favorite spice. And then another thing that I like to do is take a baked tortilla shell and put a little bit of non-fat Greek yogurt with some different spices, add some of my chickpeas in there, and then serve it with all of my cut up vegetables. Looks gorgeous on the plate, super nutritious, and kids love to eat with their eyes. So if you make it colorful, they're gonna dive right in. So just a few tips and hints to help you out. Hope that helps you, and I'd love to hear your story.
I know that video was for kids, but come on, who wouldn't eat that? They look great. Also, I want to give one more example about time management in fast food. I use myself as an example because I consider myself an average person who lives in a relatively average place. Now, I went on Google Maps and I found the closest fast food restaurant to my house. And it's McDonald's that is 4.9 miles away. And according to Google Maps, and I've driven there before, it takes anywhere from 9 to 10 minutes to get there. So, from going there, ordering my food, and driving back, that's about 25 minutes out of my day. And I know that doesn't seem a lot right now, but it adds up. So, if I were to do that 3 times a day, that's about an hour and a half out of my day just driving to the closest fast food place. That's a lot out of my day. That's not how you manage your time well. And this is a monetary example. It takes $3.45 for me to drive there and back with my truck, and that gets about 12 miles a gallon. I know that's terrible, but a lot of us have trucks and vans, etc. And the meal is just, I picked the average one, double quarter pounder with cheese. And that's about $6.49. And added up together with tax, it's $10.45. Now, 3 times a day, that's about $31.50. Monetarily, not a good choice. And an hour and a half out of your day just to eat that, not a good idea. It also affects your health negatively, especially if you're eating McDonald's or any fast food that often. And Danielle's going to give you more information about that.
Okay, so as the mom of this group and this class, I'm going to tell you the health benefits. Your diet is important for your overall health. A diet high in saturated fats and trans fats raises your blood cholesterol, and put you at a higher risk for heart disease and stroke. Most of you probably don't worry about that because you're very young, but time flies by, and you are going to get old fast. And the worse you eat, the faster you'll get old, and heart disease is a huge risk. Too much sodium can raise your blood pressure, and too much fat and sugar leads to obesity. You've heard a lot about obesity, both which also contribute to heart disease. The dangers of fast food are well documented. Portions are larger, and food is generally higher in calories and lower in nutrients than the healthier home-cooked meal options that you've heard about today. You can prepare those with fresher ingredients, being whole grains, fresh fruits and vegetables, low-fat options for dairy, and leaner meats, more protein, less fat. The latest research published in American Heart Association found that people who consume fast food even once a week increase their risk of heart disease by 20%. These are people compared to those who don't eat fast food. Okay? If you eat out 2 to 3 times a week, you've increased it by 50%. And if you eat 4 times a week or more, you're up in 80% for heart disease as you get older. Fast food is calorically dense and served in large portions. This type of food is typically comprised of processed meats, highly refined carbohydrates, and is generally high in sodium and cholesterol. This type of nutritional profile has been linked to cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is the most common form Type 2 diabetes is the most common form. In type 2 diabetes, because the body does not produce enough insulin, or the insulin does not get absorbed by the body. And insulin is very important because it breaks down the sugars that you eat and starches into glucose. Glucose is what fuels our body, energy, your muscles. And it's the basic fuel for the cells to operate everything in your body. That's cell division to repair any damage that you have, cell division to grow if you're still growing, cell division to heal scars, broken bones, things like that. Insulin takes sugar from the body into the cells. When glucose builds up in the sugar or in your blood cells instead of going into your muscles and everything, it can cause 2 problems. Right away, your cells are starved for energy. So even though the food that you eat may taste good and it may fill you up, you may feel full, your cells are starving. They're not getting the nutrition that they need to be healthy and to repair you. Over time, high blood glucose levels may hurt your eyes, your kidneys, your nerves, and your heart. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease, includes numerous problems, many of which are related to a process called atherosclerosis. This is a condition that develops when a substance called plaque builds up in your arteries. You can see it right here. So what happens is it's really hard, and it builds and it builds and builds until it finally just closes off and blood can't flow through. And this puts you at risk for a heart attack or a stroke. Foodborne illnesses, which they're caused by bacteria-laden foods and undercooked meats and vegetables, and they regularly make headlines on the news and occasionally kill people. According to the University of Kansas, up to 25% of the U.S. population succumbs to foodborne illnesses, food poisoning, yearly, and this is a cost of $1.4 trillion a year in health benefits. So the grocery stores, also you can get the same type of food that has these bacteria in them, but at home you're going to cook them, clean them yourself, and ensure that it's cooked out, because everyone knows that at specific temperatures, bacteria dies. The grocery store can be a healthy alternative to fast food. That's because anything that comes in a box, a bag, a can, all these things have to be labeled with the nutritional facts on them, being how much fat's in them, how much protein, how much carbohydrates, how much sodium, how much sugar, and that's required by law that they list those things. Fast food, places like McDonald's and Burger King and Subway, they may list their nutritional value, which is nice, but there are a lot of restaurants you go to that you can't have that option. You don't know what you're eating. Okay? It's often cheaper and easier just to run into the grocery store and buy nutritious foods, like a freshly made sandwich on a whole grain bun with, some turkey or some lettuce and tomato. And many grocery stores also sell pre-made, pre-packaged soups and salads that are a healthier option than the options you're going to get at McDonald's. McDonald's has a variety of salads, and they all have a lot of cheese, some have bacon, and a lot have high calorie, high caloric dressing. So that takes, also the salad is generally made with iceberg lettuce, which has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's basically just a filler, but your body, again, is not getting the nutrients that it needs. So cooking your meals at home provides a peace of mind that goes a long way. And let's go back to this for a second. You can control the type of ingredients you put into your meal, the cleanliness of your food, and it really gives you a chance to explore your creative cooking skills, which if you're young and you didn't have parents that had a lot of time to teach you how to cook, you don't have, right? So the problem here is that meat turns into muscle, protein, lean meats turn into muscle, lean meats turn into protein. This other food, which is like macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, it's all that non-nutritional stuff that we all know about that turns directly into fat. Fruits and vegetables digest directly into your wellness because they cleanse the body. Antioxidants run around killing free radicals in your body, and they take out toxins that store up in your fat. Other healthy things like nuts and avocados and seeds, they turn into good cholesterol in your blood because cholesterol isn't just a bad thing, it's a good thing. And fast food that we're talking about today turns directly into fat. Fast food, sugars, sodas, things like that. Even those diet sodas that you guys take and they don't have the sugar in them, they're bad for you. They have aspartame in them. Aspartame is not a good thing for your body. A lot of people have allergies or food intolerances, mainly like peanut butter or shellfish, peanuts. Those can cause severe allergic reactions that can kill you. So preparing your meals at home helps to avoid those types of things. More meals cooked at home and eaten at home may trim your waistline, and they may turn the tide of obesity epidemic that plagues our society. When it comes to choosing a quick meal, you guys can think outside of the fast food box. So, on your plate, half of it should be fruits and vegetables. A quarter of it should be like your breads, your healthy starch, not white breads, not white potatoes, not white rice. We're talking whole grains that have fiber and they help cleanse your system. That's going to help clear up any chances for bowel cancer, intestinal cancer. Again, things that you probably don't think about at this age, but they are serious things that will affect you later. And the worse you eat, the quicker later comes. This is protein. That's about a quarter of your meat. And by protein, I mean lean protein. We're talking eggs, fish. Fish is a great option for protein. Chicken, beef. They say you should really limit beef to maybe once a week, twice a month. I mean, I don't eat beef very often at all. Chicken's not too bad. Fish is the best. As I said, pork is dangerous for multiple different reasons. It's bad with fat, and it's laden more with bacteria than a lot of the other meats are. So today I brought McDonald's, because I know you all love McDonald's. And in one of these little boxes, you have chicken nuggets. This is 10. So if you cut this in half and took 5 chicken nuggets, you'd get 235 calories. And how many of you would be satisfied with this? Right? Then I took the time to get the sandwiches that you can have. And these are cut, but if you had about a 6-inch sandwich, you'd have the same amount of calories. But you would have fiber, you would have fruits and vegetables, you would have calcium, you would have a lean sense of protein, and you'd feel a lot more full, a lot more satisfied. Help yourself to those when you want. A couple of recipes that are quick, because time, as she said, is an option, and a lot of people don't know how to eat better if you don't know how to cook. So lasagna. Lasagna is horrific for you, but it tastes delicious, right? So I'm not saying to cut out the foods that you love. I'm saying to modify them so that they are a little bit healthier, because we don't have to be completely healthy. If you change one thing in your life, one thing today, and you let it go for a week, in a week you won't even recognize the change. So if you stop eating white bread and you eat wheat bread's beneficial for you. It has fiber, as white bread has no fiber at all. White bread sits in your intestines and bloats you and makes you fat. So switch to wheat bread. In a week you won't even notice that you're eating wheat bread. You won't miss it. If you are drinking soda, switch to diet soda. In a week you won't notice it. You won't taste that aspartame. That taste you guys don't like, that's aspartame. So if you eat unhealthy, you will look like that. And if you eat like this, you will look like that. And a lot of people, like Darby just said, have high metabolism. And they think, I can eat whatever I want, I look great. You look great, but if we opened you up on the inside, you would look disgusting. And it will catch up with you eventually. So as you get older, your metabolism slows down. After you have children, a lot of you ladies will have children, whether you plan on it or not, and your metabolism will spike while you're pregnant, and you'll be able to eat whatever you want, and you'll look amazing. And afterwards, if you breastfeed, you will look amazing and feel amazing, and you'll drop a ton of weight. When that baby gets about a year old and that stops, and you go back to your regular eating because your time management is poor, and you can't make the good meals, and you can't eat the stuff, and you start eating, and you will put on that weight, and it'll be 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there, and the next thing you know, you're 40 pounds bigger, and you cannot get rid of it. And if you think time management for preparing your meals is hard to find, imagine time management for the exercise it takes to lose all the weight from when you were relying on your awesome metabolism. Some of you will, like I have a brother who has a great metabolism, and he's 53, and he's skinnier than anything I've ever seen, and he's the most unhealthy thing ever. Because being skinny doesn't equate to being healthy, and being fat doesn't necessarily equate to being unhealthy. It depends on what your weight is from, what you're putting into your body. So I challenge you, today go home and throw out your white rice and your white bread and your white potatoes and replace it with healthier options like wheat bread and wheat rice, and try that for a week. Your taste buds will adapt, you will feel better, you will not feel so bloated, you will not feel so tired, and you will be doing your body a good justice. And to wrap it all up, that's my talk.
All right, guys. We all live very busy lives, and I'm sure you think yours is each and all individually different, and it doesn't apply to this. It's so much different, and you think fast food really is the fastest way to go. It may not be 8 minutes away like Darby. It may be maybe 2 minutes away. Maybe you're driving from work and you just want to go pick up some food. So you drive over there. In reality, you're not saving time. Because in the long run, you're shortening your life. I guess that's kind of scary to me. You're not going to live as long. You may think a few minutes here and there is a lot of time in a day, but in 10 years, you'll look back and you'll feel disgusting. You feel like you've, saved time in the short term, but your health has gone terribly, and you're sick, and now you regret it. So, unfortunately, your health will suffer. Our body is a temple, like Darby said, and shortening our lives and making the present more difficult to live, as well as the future. Then people may say, I don't have the money. But we have showed you all great ways to get around that. People say I don't have the time. As I said, you do have the time. You can make time. And if you say you can't, there are many ways to manage and improve time management. We've shown you the benefits of home-cooked meals and negative consequences of fast food. And I hope this has helped you all realize that you have more options and should eat better for you and for your family, people that love you, so that you can live a healthier and longer life. Thank you.